Are you looking to save money at your next convention? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you just how. What's going on, everybody? My name is Sheena and welcome to the Attendee. On this channel, we talk about conventions and expos, primarily focusing on anime, gaming, and comic, and how to prepare for them. With the state of the world right now, conventions probably won't happen for some time. But no time is better than right now to start preparing for what conventions you want to go to, and most importantly, budgeting. Now, budgeting is so painful to do, but it's absolutely necessary. If you do have a budget, you'll know how much money to bring with you, and you tend to not overspend, which will in turn save you overall. Now, there's a lot of little nuances when it comes to creating budgets, so I'm going to actually be making multiple videos on this. And in this video, I'm going to be focusing on being a local attendee. Alright, so you guys are looking at the local attendee budget show notes. Now, the link to this will be down in the description below. It'll actually be a folder which will have the show notes as well as the Excel sheet that comes with this video. So let's go ahead and talk about what is considered a local attendee, at least in my book. Now, the first thing is, can drive to the venue. So this is a very self-explanatory point. You can hop in your car and you can drive to the venue very easily. The second one is, have friends or family that can drive you to the venue. Another self-explanatory one, mom, dad, can you drive me to the convention center? So the next one is public transportation. So you can easily hop on a bus or train to get to the venue. Now the next one, I don't really recommend that much because it is on the pricier side, but using Uber or Lyft to the venue at fair price. So let's say that you are within a 10-minute drive to the venue, but you don't have a car, your family and friends are too busy, public transportation isn't readily available, just take an Uber and Lyft. What I consider a fair price is maybe $10 to $15 one way. That's, again, a little bit on the pricier side, but if you don't have the option for any other mode of transportation, and this is the only way you can go, do it. And the most important thing to this is no hotel must commute every day. And the reason why I want to make this point is I used to live 45 minutes away from the LA Convention Center. So I could easily drive or take the train to LA to get to the convention center. However, I hated driving to LA, so what I would actually do is book a hotel or an Airbnb near the convention center. I do not consider that being a local attendee. You must commute every day to the venue. Okay? So that's that. So let's go ahead into the Excel sheet and go through all this. Now, we will go through every line, so I know it's a little daunting to some people, but we're going to go through every line, all the notes, as well as how to improve on this purchase. Okay? I'll walk you through this, don't worry. So the first item on this list is a 3-day badge. Now, not all events are 3 days. Some events are as low as 1 day, some events are as high as 4 days. Anime Expos particularly is a 4-day event, but I have been to some that are only 1 day. But 3 days is usually the average. Most events are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Alright, so the $85 price I have here is an early bird AX badge for all 4 days. Now, through some of my research, $85 is actually on the higher end when it comes to anime conventions. Most anime events usually range between $35 to $75 at its highest. But keep this in mind, gaming and Comic Cons are expensive. When I went to BlizzCon, it was about $200 per person, and I've never been to Comic Con, but I can imagine it is way more expensive as well. I have been to WonderCon, didn't pay for it, but I did see that it was $85 for a weekend pass, but that's only a 3-day event, so per day it's a little more expensive than Anime Expo technically. But just keep in mind, $85 is, a fluctuating number. So how to improve on this price? So the first thing I want to share with you on how to improve on that purchase is to take advantage on early bird specials. Plan ahead. If an early bird special for a typical anime convention for a 3-day pass is $50, go for it. Usually they'll go up over time, and especially at the door, it's going to be super expensive. Now, the second way to improve on this, which I really don't recommend as much, is to buy a single day pass. Now, the reason why I don't recommend this is because there are a few cons to this. And the first downside is that on a per day basis, you're actually spending more than somebody buying a 3-day pass. Somebody who bought a 3-day pass may have spent $75, which is $25 per day. However, if you buy a single day pass, you might be spending $40, so you're spending more than that. But if you know you have work on Friday and you just want to relax on Sunday and just want to go there on the Saturday, then save the $25 and get a single day pass. The other downside is that if you had so much fun on Saturday and want to go again on Sunday, well, then you're going to be coughing up another $40 for that Sunday pass. But usually Sundays are a little bit cheaper. Still, you're spending more money. All right, so we're going to go back to the show notes and we're going to go over what a special event is. And they vary a lot in price and type of events, so we're going to go over them really quickly. So the first one is it needs additional ticket on top of badge. And an example of this was Anime Expo 2015 Fate Stay Night, a little bit Limited Blade Works special event. To get this, you had to show them your badge to even get into the venue, as well as have the printout ticket for the Unlimited Blade Works event. It was actually pretty fun. I recommend going to these types of events if you're a big fan, especially with Fate Stay Night, because they had like the voice actors and they had Aimer, and it was just amazing. Now, some special events just need a ticket. You don't need a badge. So some people who go there, they just want to go to the event. They don't want to pay for the badge and they just want to go see whatever it is that the special event is. And usually they're concerts. Now, this might be a bad example, but I'm going to put in Anisong World Matsuri in here. Now, I don't remember if you needed to have a convention badge to go to this event, but it was a concert outside of the convention center, and you just needed to buy the ticket, so I don't think you needed a badge. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, Anisong World Matsuri in particular, they like to attach themselves to conventions, so they were like with Anime Expo, Anime NYC, and I think SakuraCon, so, they advertise with the convention, but they're not specifically with them, so just keep that in mind. Now, another one is surprise guest. Now, this one, they will typically not announce who the surprise guest is until the day of their event. And sometimes they require an additional ticket. In this example, I'm going to use Porter Robinson at Anime Expo 2015. I think it was 2015. So I think they had announced previous to the event that Anamanaguchi was opening for a surprise guest, but they didn't sell tickets until they said, okay, Porter Robinson's going to be the guest. Go buy tickets now. Make room to pay for this, especially if it's a surprise guest. It might be something that you might enjoy. So the next thing I never actually experienced because I've never done them before, and those are photo ops / meet and greets. Typically, for these type of events, you can buy them when you buy the badge. So my mother-in-law is a huge fan of The Walking Dead and a huge fan of Norman Reedus. So she bought the Walking Dead event, Walker Stalker, I think. And then when you buy the badge, you can add on, actually let's put that on add-ons. You can add on meet and greet with Norman Reedus and then take a picture with him. Or the meet and greet is separate from the photo op. It really depends on how the pricing is with that convention. And then last but not least is autographs. Now, autographs, you either pay it when you meet the person at their booth, or you would pay it at the ticketing center. Now, going back into the Excel sheet, I left this empty because prices vary heavily on it, so I'm just going to leave that be. So your pre-event purchases will just be the price of the ticket. And really, the only way to save money on this is don't buy if you can't afford. All right, let's get into day one purchases. So the first thing you will be expected to pay for is parking, especially if you're driving there. Now, $40 is the most expensive parking I've ever seen for an event. And this price wasn't even the venue's parking. This was a parking lot that was across the street from the venue, and I think it was even closer than the venue parking lot. Now, most parking prices aren't going to be as expensive as this. I've typically seen them around $25 to $30 range. Some venues even have free parking. I think the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont, Illinois has free parking. So how can we improve on this $40 purchase? My first recommendation is off-site parking. Now you can save between $10 to $25 depending on the lot, but you will be walking a lot. So there are apps that actually help you out with this, like Spot Hero is a good one. That'll get the pricing for parking lots around the venue, and sometimes can even save you money. So I'm actually going to put that. Spot Hero, just so you remember. Number 2, have someone drive you. So if you have a family member or a friend that can drive you, you can just pay for their gas, or not even pay at all, and you'll save $40 that way. And the last one, if you have it readily available, public transportation. Now I know some places don't have great public transportation, and I understand. I used to live in Southern California, but public transportation will save you a lot. I have actually done public transportation going to C2E2 because there's literally a train that goes right into the venue, and that's so convenient. And you just buy like a weekend transportation pass and you save money that way. Alright? So, the next item on the list is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're going to go through how to improve each one. So on the first day, I usually have like a light breakfast, like, coffee and pastries. That's kind of like my thing. I usually don't get to the venue until a little bit later, since they don't open until a little bit later. So, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, that sort of thing. You can also do fast food like McDonald's, and you can stay under $10. How can we improve on this price? Number 1 thing, have breakfast at home. Make your own pancakes, make your own coffee, eat, and then drive to the venue. That's the best way, honestly. Now, the second item I have on this list is lunch, which I put at $20. Now, I put specifically notes food truck lunch. You don't have to do food truck. You can just find something else within the area, but it's a really good experience, and they have a lot of good food trucks with a lot of good food. And I love to eat at food trucks at least once every con. It's convenient, and you hardly get to see food trucks, so you might as well take advantage of it. So my advice for this is avoid food trucks. Even though I love doing food truck foods. They're usually pricier than the usual food. And then my other advice is to avoid convention center food. They are expensive. They definitely upcharge you, but if you really want something convenient, food trucks and convention center foods are the way to go. But I would avoid them if you want to save money. Now, the next item I have on this list is dinner. I like to go to an off-site restaurant on the first day, Korean barbecue, or going to Chinatown or Little Tokyo, wherever you are, just to get away from the convention center and, have fun with friends. I'll also include Uber Lyft here because for the most part you don't want to drive away from the convention center because usually most places don't have in-and-out privileges. So how to improve is find nearby restaurants to save on Uber and Lyft. They might be pricier because it is closer to the convention center, but you won't be spending no more than an additional $30. Right, so the next item on this list is snacks. Bottled water, maybe more coffee, maybe some chips, something like that. Now this is important because you want to have a snack every single day to maintain your energy levels. But there are ways to improve on this. So the first one is bring your own snacks. Bring a granola bar, bring some gummies, I don't know, something. Just bring it small, compact to keep in your backpack. Number 2, bring a refillable bottle. Bring it empty because sometimes convention centers don't like you having liquids already in there. But if you bring like a regular water bottle and then a refillable one, you can just go to a drinking fountain and then refill it there. But just some notes, adhere to the rules of the venue. Make sure you're not bringing in like a cooler full of snacks and stuff because most venues will not allow that. Some venues won't even allow you to bring your own food or a bottle, so just be wary about that kind of stuff. And then an overall tip with the pricing for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, that kind of thing, is look up prices in the area. These prices might not even apply to you. Go to Yelp, go to Google Maps, and look up restaurants in the area and just look up the menu prices and see what costs look like. These are just past experiences from events I've been to, so these might not really apply to you. Some may be more expensive, some may be cheaper. But look it up on Yelp, look it up on Google, see what the menu prices are, and you can do a better budget that way. Alright, so the next 3 items we have is show merch, posters, and artist alley. Now typically I don't really buy a lot on the first day, mostly I browse, but if I do buy things, that's mostly these 3. Now show merch can run out pretty fast, so I would go there first. Now if you want like a t-shirt that says Anime Expo 2021 or something like that, make sure you get it because sometimes they won't even have your sizes. The next reason why I get like art and stuff and posters first is because most artists have limited quantity, so I would try to go to my favorite artists and make sure that I get the item right away. Now, what are some things that you can improve? Number 1 is buy cheaper items. So instead of t-shirts, maybe you can go buy a mug or a magnet, that sort of thing. Small items. And then for Artist Alley, I would say buy bundles. Most artists will have a bundle set, so like let's say an artist you like has these pins of Haikyuu characters. Each pin is probably $3, but you can buy like 5 of them for $10. So buy bundles, you get more pins at a cheaper price each. So day 1, you're going to be looking at about $215. So that's it for day 1. Let's move on to day 2. So parking is going to be a little more expensive for day 2, and it's going to be harder to find cheaper parking. You might have to even walk a bit further. Honestly, you're better off taking public transportation or having someone drive you. So I'm going to go ahead and put the same how to improve. Now let's do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now during the second day, I usually have a bigger breakfast and start my day pretty early. So that's why I put Denny's or IHOP. So how do I improve on this? 1, go to fast food places. McDonald's has pancakes, Carl's Jr. has like these burgers, breakfast burgers, that sort of thing. And number 2, have breakfast at home. Okay? Now for lunch, I typically have a smaller lunch because I had a big breakfast, so I like to find something that's nearby. Sometimes I'll even have food sold at the convention center for convenience. But the best way to improve on this is walk off-site for a cheap alternative. Now for dinner, again, I like to stay at least within the vicinity of the venue, so I try to find some nearby restaurants. No Ubering or Lyfting or any of that. Now the restaurants near the venue tend to be a little bit more expensive, but there are some cheaper alternatives that you can go to as well. So for example, if there's like a Denny's or something nearby, go to that. Or like if there was a McDonald's that you went to for breakfast, you can go to that. Fast food, just anything that's cheap. So snacks, I'm going to keep the same thing. There's not really much change with that. Right, so the next 2 items we have is that 1 expensive item and miscellaneous product. Now the first thing I have here is the Aniplex box sets. They do sell it at conventions. I have bought them before. They're very pricey. They might even upcharge at the convention. So there's that. Exclusive items and figurines. I don't typically buy figurines. It's just too dangerous to be buying them at the convention center and then traveling with them. So I don't do that, but I've done exclusive items and box sets. And then for miscellaneous products, we got shirts, plush, mystery boxes, all that sort of thing. There's not really much you can do other than stay within budget. This might even be like the last thing that you wanted to list on here. Let's say you list all the essential stuff. This might be the last thing you want to list on here, so you can stay within whatever your budget is. And 2, buy cheaper items. You can get more stuff that way. If you buy small posters, small plushies, you can definitely get a lot more. And you're looking at day 2 at about $470. Alright, now that we've finished day 2, let us go on to day 3. So the first thing is parking, $20. They're usually cheaper on the last day, sometimes as low as $10 that I've seen. But again, I will keep the same ways to improve by off-site parking, having someone drive you, and public transportation. Most off-site parking might not even be open, so might as well do the venue if it's the only thing available. But again, it's usually cheaper the last day. So breakfast, I don't usually eat as much, but again, same ways to improve: fast food or have breakfast at home. So last meal of the day is lunch because the convention usually closes pretty early. And what I do is I usually do an off-site lunch with friends. That way I can hang out with them before everyone goes back home. So typically tend to splurge a little bit on the last meal of the convention because usually it's with friends and I don't see them very often because we live all over the country. So I'm just going to keep this empty. And last but not least is your last minute purchases. Now typically on the last day, vendors lower their prices. Some vendors are even open to negotiating prices. Some rules that I want to do here is don't buy too much. And 2, try to negotiate if possible. And I'm actually going to do a video on negotiating prices at conventions later on. So the last day we are looking at $145, which gives us a grand total of $915 for a 3-day weekend at a convention. Now obviously there's other ways that you can improve on this cost. If you're parking or using Uber and Lyft, that can be split among friends. And if you follow some of the improvements, you can save a lot. Now in the past, I've spent about $250 for a 2-day event. For one of the days, my dad drove me and my friends to the convention, and then her dad drove us to the convention the next day. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we ate at a Carl's Jr., which is Hardee's for you non-California people. I only bought plushies, art, and like some wall scrolls. And most of the time, I just hung out with my friends, took pictures of cosplays, did gatherings, panels, and main stage events. You will not always be spending money throughout the day. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to deter you from spending money. There are things on the shelf back there that I can tell you which convention they came from, what year, and a story behind them. This is a great time for you to make memories, and if buying something is a good way for you to jog that memory, do it. But if you have a budget, it'll keep you from overspending and you will be saving money overall. Anyways, that's it for me. Do you guys have any budget tips as a local attendee? If you do, leave it down in the comment below. I will also be doing a budget video similar to this one for traveling attendees. If you did like this video, please go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to see more content from me, don't forget to subscribe. But that is it for me. I will see you all next time.